a boat in the kingdom, can't turn around. We're lighting up the night, shaking up the ground. Excuses and flames, yeah, we're breaking free. We'll be fire, this is our legacy.
Welcome to the One Big Fire podcast. We have the fearless Jay Kinder. Welcome, bud.
What's up? What's up?
Yes, sir. Today is a fun topic that anyone that's in real estate, whether you're on the real estate sales side of things or the mortgage side, it is the number one metric that we're going to talk about. That if you were to only focus on one thing, this is what's going to help you win. So I'm excited to dig into it, dude. How you been?
Good, man. Good, dude. Just busy, man. I love busy though. It's been it's all good, man. I love it when I have clarity and I know what I need to do.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to talk about today is overwhelm is a real thing. It's probably, if I were to take a guess, the number one thing that sneaks into everyone's minds and brains. And there's a million things going on inside our brains as entrepreneurs trying to grow our business. Should we buy this lead source? Should we, take this strategy and grow in our business? And there's just a million things that, as technology gets better, there's a million things we could do. Do I need this bot? Do I need this lead generation? Should I run this ad? And ultimately, I think what I see is people just getting overwhelmed and then they just stop.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier this week. Last week, Shep Black came on. We did our, he does the coaching call with all the leaders. And he was talking about, and I love this analogy, dude, white belt mentality. So when you think about white belt mentality, right? The black belt is the highest belt you can get in Taekwondo. And I know there's like different degrees and all that stuff. My boys went through it. But white belt is like basics. It's your basic thing. If there was only one thing and you got rid of all of the other things that you're going to track in your business, what would be the one thing that agents should be figuring out this first quarter? Like, what is that one metric they should be tracking? If they weren't tracking anything and they were going to start tracking their business, what would it be?
It's real simple. I want to go back to what you said a minute ago. The biggest challenge I think agents face is there's so many things you can do, right? There's ideas, I mean, at every corner. Like, you could be working probate deals. You could be knocking doors. You could be calling expired. Like, there's so many angles that people lose sight of. Like, what's the, repeat referral business? What can you be doing? What actions can you be taking that's going to drive more of that business? And it comes down to one simple metric that once you focus in on this and track this one thing and everything else, nothing else matters. It's all noise. It's conversations per day with people who are open to buying and selling and doing business with you. You can call expired. If you call expireds every day, you're going to increase your conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell. And then maybe you're open to doing business with you. But if they're not open to doing business with you, then that doesn't count as a qualified conversation. That's a skill set you learn, but that's an easy one, right? Like, every day there's new ones. You can call them. It's free. So, I would tell everybody you should be doing it. Learn that skill set. You can learn how to do anything. It's a skill. Skills can be developed. Learn that skill. And every day you'll have at least a conversation. You will list houses eventually. If you do it for 60 days straight, you really, truly focus on conversations per day and then breaking through and getting them open to doing business with you, which again, that's a skill set that you can improve upon. That one thing will drive sales. Okay, well, what are all the other things? Well, you can go knock doors. I mean, how many, if you tell me how many doors you got to knock to find someone who's wanting to buy or sell, I think it's probably easier for you to just, take a neighborhood, take a picture of a neighborhood and just blindly pick a house and go, let me go knock on that door. As far as, efficiency, you might have to spend the whole day to talk to X number of people to find one that wants to do business. So it's not efficient. It's like, I'll be like, okay, that's going to the bottom of the list of things that I could do. But really, truthfully, that's it. It's what will drive drive more of those conversations. It could be talking to your sphere of influence. It's probably not doing pop buys. You can go pop by somebody's house. Right. The old Buffini, methodology. All of those things are just driving the one metric that drives it. The leading indicator of whether you're going to increase sales is conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell and are open to doing business with you, period. And if you subordinate everything down to that one thing and you measure that daily, it's like nobody wants to make the phone calls. Like you can measure dials if you want to measure dials. You can measure talk time if you want to measure talk time. But if you measure conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell and open to doing business with you, the rest of that stuff doesn't matter. That's the thing that matters. And so that's, then it becomes, I was talking to a guy today, he was a young dude that, he built, he did it all on his own, like just blindly trying to figure things out like all of us have to do. And he's like, he's got this tech stack with this tech and all this stuff. He's like, I finally got it dialed in. I'm paying $3,500 a month on Zillow. I'm paying for this thing and that thing. And he's increasing sales, you know what I'm saying? Like at the, doing a bunch of things. He's tried Boomtown, tried this, tried that, done all these things. But, but for him, it's now, okay, you're doing a whole lot of things, not real sure what things working best and what's the most efficient. Now it's come back and let's look at, hey, what is your cost? What is your cost to acquire a customer with Zillow versus this thing versus realtor.com versus this thing? Because he's got like 4 or 5 things going. And it's like, yeah, man, I made some money off of this. I made some money off of that. Well, which one should you double down on? Which one should you stop doing? And then when something's working, it's really hard to say like, well, I'm going to stop doing that. I got 6 sales from it. But if you could take that $3,500 and turn it into 800 more leads, that leads to at a 30% contacted rate, a high, more conversations, more predictably, then you should probably do that, right? You're going to increase conversations per day. If he's looking at that one metric, it'll make it easier for him to decide what he should do more of and what he should stop doing. And that's the that fundamental truth. If you buy into that, which I don't know how you couldn't, right? Like I find something else better than that metric to measure that leads to sales. And I'd love to hear what it is, but that is the thing that, and it's like when you have just one metric to track. I remember when I first got in the business, Al, I don't even know if you heard the story. You probably have over all the years, but my dad gave out this, goal setting sheet, right? And this was the first full year I'd been in business. And I closed a handful of deals, I think 22 deals that year, average of 50,000. I took all the REO stuff nobody wanted, and I closed a handful of deals. And, it asked you to go back and look at like, what was the source of all the business? Well, I had a FSBO and expired and, floor time, it wasn't a whole lot I could see that I was doing that was working, but FSBO and expired stood out to me. I was like, I should do more of that. And as I did that every year and I set the goals, I started focusing on the listing side of the business. And I said, man, if I got it down to a metric of, X number of listings a month that I needed, which broke down to a week, I need a listing. Like whatever it was, let's say it was 1 a week. I can't remember the exact number at the time that I had the aha moment. I didn't focus at all on the buy side of the business. In fact, it would be like if we lead generated for you and you got 100 leads, you'd be looking for every one of those people that have a home to sell. That's all you would look for. You wouldn't, the buy side is going to naturally, you'll have that conversation and you'll sell somebody on the buy side. But if you're looking for the people that want to sell, you'll find the listings. Like your reticular activator will be up in anywhere that you're at, that you hear somebody talking about somebody who has a home to sell. You're like, oh shoot, I need to get in the conversation. There's one, that's one. It's that simplicity of having one thing that you're focused on that's going to be the driver of everything else. You get listings, you'll get buyers. Like that was what I learned that happened. And that's how I doubled and then doubled and then doubled again. I doubled like 3 or 4 years in a row by focusing on listings. The buy side took care of itself. And so, but it was that single metric, the one thing that mattered that drove the strategy is what led to doubling and doubling and doubling. And that, that breaks down to conversations per day. It's why I called expired. That's why I called FSBOs. I could increase my listing conversations per day that drove more listings that ultimately led to doubling the business. And so, yeah, man, I think there's a million things you can do. A lot of it's super complex. A lot of it's wrapped in, overalls, that are a lot of, that not look like work, but that actually is a lot of work. And you really want to be the most efficient you can if you want to grow. No point.
Yeah, man. So in order to have more conversations, it's very simple. Like, oh, okay, Jay, sounds great. How do I find the people to have the conversations with? That would be the next logical question that I would be asking, right? So on that note, There's only a couple ways that I know. Obviously, you had talked about the Popeyes, the Buffini thing. These are people that already know you. What about how do we expand our opportunity pipeline to have more opportunities? Obviously, we run ads. That's what we're world class at doing. Running ads that create a high value lead to be able to have that conversation. And the other thing I could think of is lead magnets, which I'm kind of excited about. I don't think enough people are using a lead magnet to then re-engage all the leads that they have in there.
Yeah.
I had a formula. My formula when I was running my team was this, and I got to answer the door. But my formula was this: 25, 10, 4. Every one of my agents on a monthly basis, they were to try to have 25 new conversations. And we're not talking about old. These are opportunities, right? So we're talking about 25 new conversations with new buyers or sellers. And those conversations should turn into about 10 appointments. Those 10 appointments, you should be able to close 4 of those. That formula is that what made me my first $1 million in real estate. Snoop, come on.
Yep.
That was what it was. So we just followed that formula, but it was 25 a month. Now, the question is, how do you have 25 new conversations with a buyer or seller per month? That's what that should be the problem you're solving for if you're not having enough of those conversations. What are you thinking?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm thinking of the top 10 things that people are probably thinking are the answer to this, and they're all wrong. It's not Zillow. The most efficient is not calling your database and your past clients. The most, if you have a database, then I would say, I'll give you, let me give an example that's outside of real estate. If we wanted to know who was the best people in your database to call that were potential recruits to EXP. Okay. So this is the example you gave me earlier. So I'm going to toss up an easy one. So, and so you said you sent out a money magnet. So if you send out something to a list that you've built for years and somebody downloads that thing about growing their business, is that a good person to talk to?
Yes, sir.
Their recency, right? So like the recency of them doing something is important, right? So somebody that just logged in and looked at houses today is better than somebody that hasn't logged on in 6 months and looked at houses, right? In your IDX. So, but the money magnet, what is a way for you to find somebody who's trying to do something. I'm trying to grow my business and we think we can help them. So that would be, you would send out something of value so that you can find out who's looking to grow their business. And then you can call the ones that engage with that. It's really rather simple. If you have a database, most people don't. So we have to go to something else. So, but that's that philosophy of let me build a database of people I can have a conversation with that are recently doing something and doing what, that have indicated that they might be a good fit for what I'm trying to do. But and again, this is where, okay, Zillow, Realtor.com, Boomtown, Real Geeks. I'm trying to think. There's another 100 of these lead services that, because they know that you make $10,000 a transaction, they're going to knock your head off. They know how to get that lead. You don't. If you knew how to get that lead, you wouldn't be going and calling them. so it's, like this guy that I'm talking to, he's a go-getter, man. He's one of us. He was willing to spend the money, got his lender to pay half, learned that from the team that he was on in the beginning, was on a team, saw how they did it, got a lender to pay half, probably sweated that out for, a few months while he, converted some from Zillow, but he was paying $3,500 a month on leads. It's a lot of money. You're paying more than, at that stage, he's probably paying more than his house payment. Right. Yeah. So it's super scary to do that. But if you understood lead generation and you understood that you could generate that same lead for $3 and then your budget would go further, meaning it would increase the number of leads that you get so that you have conversations faster. That's the problem with most people. Their budget is too low for the cost per lead. And that takes, in month 4 or 5, you're going to sell something. But by month 3, you're like, I ain't got no more money left. Like my credit card is about to be maxed out. I need a sale. So you lose faith in those things because your budget was the constraint. And so the importance of finding the lowest possible lead cost is extremely important, because it just means it's going to increase the number of conversations you get to have to find that person that's willing to do something sooner than later. That is what creates predictability and consistency and all of those things that the agent's looking for. And so, I think for the most part, unfortunately, if it's $75, I talked to somebody who's paying $75 a lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do it at $75 a lead. You better have a war chest of cash, and be willing to hope, you say your prayers every night. Something's going to happen. And so, that's the linchpin in this, is your ability to lead generate at a low cost, not buy some technology platform and pay for lead generation on top of that. You gotta to play the game. You got to have $1,500 a month starting out like that. You're going to go buy a KV Core or this thing or that thing. And then you got that monthly cost. And then on top of that, you got your ad spend. And that's why people, tend to struggle. And that's the game, that's been played as long as I've been in the business. It was started with pay-per-click. Now it's they'll just give you the lead and pay a 40% referral fee. Hey, why don't I just give me $5,000 per deal? I'll do that all day long. Make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So it's just, what you're saying though, is we got to do the math. So the question that I posed was, all right, if we can all agree that you should be having 25 to 30 new conversations, if you truly want to build a pipeline that starts to mature into sales, because obviously we're not doing this for our health. We're talking to these people, not just to make friends. We're talking to them to build trust, build authority, and then, secure them as a client so we can get a commission check, clearly. But the question was, how do we do it? So the first step is do the math. What's your budget? And how many new leads, new opportunities can we drill in at the lowest possible cost? That's what you're saying. So Let's say they figure that out. All right, now Jay, I got a database of 1,000 people in here already. I got 1,000 potential opportunities. They're not all going to be opportunities. Now, how do I get them? And that's where that lead magnet were to come in.
Yeah, I want to make a point here on what you're saying. So there's what can we do right now to make the most money? And then there's what can we do that's going to consistently pay me every single month, like an oil well that pumps oil. And so if you've got a database, and we did this, we made this mistake even at a high level of understanding of marketing. Okay. So we generated 150,000 home value leads with Leads Today across the country for real estate agents. And we were testing front end, top of funnel, but we didn't really have all of the back end, conversion all built out completely. Right. So we're running this in our market. We're running through a bunch of leads. And I don't remember, I have the spreadsheet somewhere, but we had generated all these leads, and now, you're on priority number one and you're focused on front end, and we didn't get to the back end, and that was going to be next. And then by the time 3-4 months go by, we had a lot of leads in the system that had really not been followed up with, other than ISAs making calls initially. And that was, it was working, but like it was time to optimize. Right. And so we did a Shake the Trees campaign. So you want to shake the trees and create something that can create sales in the first quarter right now in your database. Go in the number one email that we sent for both buyer or seller was for buyers. It was, are you still planning on making a move in 2026 ? I can't remember the body copy, but it wasn't much. It was just trying to elicit a response. Like, that's all. So you're just trying to, again, this is like the lead magnet. You got a whole database of people. You send that email out. A handful of people reply back and say, yeah, we are, or whatever. And with the seller, it was merge field their address, because we had that from the home value lead. Merge field address is, do you still own merge field address ? And then you'll get them into reply. Yeah. So that's my house. Why? Oh, we're just curious if you're thinking of selling. Now you're in a conversation. Right? Like, that's how you get into a conversation. And so that was that when we shook the tree, dude, money fell on the ground. We couldn't scoop it up fast enough. That was part of when we sold 272 deals in 12 months from scratch. Was from that whole process. But that was, back then we were, Mike was coaching with Mary Lou Tyler, who wrote Predictable Revenue and built, Salesforce. their whole, she was the head of whatever sale. I think she was the sales director of sale, whatever it was. But she wrote that book, Predictable Sales, and we just followed that model. But that was so if you have a database that you have, that you haven't done a Shake the Trees campaign, that's the first thing you should do. That should get you some cash flow quick. But the problem most people have is they do that one thing and then they don't realize, man, I don't have something that's working every month to consistently daily improve this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Herbie, the bottleneck. Where's the bottleneck? Well, we shook the trees. Now I got 100 people to call. Now your new bottleneck is in. I got 100 people to call. And so, that's, anytime, you remove the bottleneck, okay, I got conversations I can have. Now I got to call those people. Then you're working with a handful of those people. Now I'm doing all that business and nothing else is happening to create more conversations. And so you want to have something that's consistent. This is why you did it. I did it. And everybody we ever coached did it. Was expireds and FSBOs was a daily thing. There's new ones every day. We know they want to sell. We just got to convince them that we're the person to help them. And that was enough conversations a day to drive 2, maybe sometimes 3 listings every single month. Do the math. That's 30 G's a month. That's $360,000 a year. Not a whole lot of things you can do with your time more valuable than that. But most people are too, they don't want to make those calls. So if we're going to go around the hard work, easy life, if you want to not develop those skills, then we have to go to something that's low enough cost lead that we can generate, and the metrics are simple. 100 leads, you should talk to 30. If you don't talk to 30, you're not calling them fast enough, and your technology is not helping you bubble up conversations. What text goes out? What does it say? How does it create engagement? All that kind of stuff. So you can get to 30%. You're going to set, again, you're kind of along your metrics. You're going to set 5 to 7, maybe 10 appointments, and you're going to sell 1 or 2 houses. But if but you're only having 2 or 3 conversations a day. It's not overwhelming. It's not something that ever stops. You don't ever turn it off. It's always happening. And so, you want to add, most people they're not thinking about business and process and consistency. They're thinking about what's the tactic I can do right now. They all love that email idea, right? Everybody on this call, this listening, probably, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. You'll go do that. But, that's a tactic. And then what are you looking for next? In 30, 60, 90 days, you're going to be like, what's the next tactic I can do? You want to build a business that's consistent and predictable. And so that's why this is where we start. It's where we start with every agent. And we do this for you. We don't ask you to log into your Facebook ad manager and learn how to run an ad, because I promise you'll mess it up. There's way too many ways to mess that up. And you don't probably like doing that anyway. And so
I've screwed it so many times, dude.
I can't do it. You end up in Facebook jail. It's not. You can watch a bunch of videos and try to figure it out if you want to, but I would advise you to have a real expert do it. Someone that spent their own $100,000 a month on marketing that's running your Facebook, not just some yahoo that's trying to sell you.
Yeah,
they know what to do.
I gotta share a quick story, because you were saying that when you guys were so focused on top of funnel when you were creating all those home value ads. You had over 150,000 ads, but you didn't build the back end out, right? Like that was that other step. I literally just did this yesterday. I accidentally, if you're listening to this, I apologize. I've done this a million times.
We got it.
And of course, I sent an email out accidentally. It was actually a lead magnet. It's exactly what we were talking about today. And it was the 8 stages of real estate. I was sending it out to my potential recruits. It accidentally went to everybody. So sorry about that. If you got one, you should have gotten an email and a text from me. And you're like, what's this about? Right. So if that was the case, my apologies. But building that back end out. So when you were first training Braden on how to build these ads out, there was an SOP, a standard operating procedure on how to build the correct ad, how to point it at the correct audience, what to spend, how to start that spend out. Like it's not just a strategy. It's kind of like an art, because every market is different on how you're going to run that ad. And so I was like, I'm going to see if I can do this. Okay. So I literally just followed the SOP myself. I launched the ad. I built the campaign on the back end. Sure enough, I look about a week later, I look and see my ad spend. I was like spending like $12 per lead.
Right.
And I was like, I go, Braden, I need a life preserver. Throw me out of safety, because, our focus is $3 to $5 per lead. We can do that in almost any market in the US that's, that has a moving market anyway, right? $3 to $5 per lead. 3 on the low side. We've even seen them as lower than $2, $1.90.
Yeah, I've seen them lower than $1. I mean,
lower than $1, yeah, in certain areas, Florida. So
yeah,
I screwed this thing up.
Yeah.
But the reason I was doing it, Jay, was I was trying to see, like, okay, could anybody do this? Like, if you give them,
is there some secret? It can't be that hard, right?
I'm not the sharpest knife, but I'm not the dumbest either. So, like, if I can follow it, I'm like, figure anybody could. And I did, and I got it up and running to a certain point, but I'm spending $12 a lead. So when you think about it versus $3 or $4 per lead, we're talking about a difference. I'm getting 4x.
400%, bro. That's 400%. That's a big number. 400%.
Huge number.
Four times. If you can 4x anything, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? 4 times.
Yes.
Go to the gym and lift 4 times your maximum you've ever lifted. Tell me you can do that. It's such a big deal that people, they don't even like, well, what does it matter really? It's that big a deal. It's the difference between you can lift a 100-pound dumbbell or you can lift a 400-pound dumbbell. It's that big of a gap. And and it's metrics. Like, it's when you know the metrics and you've done it at scale, that if with the guy that was paying realtor.com was paying $78 a lead, that's 25x. Like, I can generate 25 leads for every lead he got. Do you think, who are you going to bet on as far as who's going to sell a house first? You're going to get 1 from realtor.com. I'm going to get you 25, and you're going to talk to, out of those 25, what is it, times 30%, 750. You might not even talk to the 1, right? So let's see. So at 25 divided by 30%, is that right? Yeah. So 8. I don't know if that's right. 8.3. So if you talk to 8 people, you're going to make a sale faster than a person that, it's mathematically, it's the most important. How do we increase its cost per conversation? That's what we're really tracking, if you want to track the metric. But yeah, man, that's the one thing, man. If you focus on that and everything else is noise, what's driving that? And, agents get caught up in, the other thing this kid told me on the call this morning was, he's like, you're going to understand. He was wicked smart. And so, like, he's like, the one thing I want to get out of is this one referral source I got. He's like, I'm so busy that I don't say no, but I got to pay a 35% referral. And at my brokerage I'm at now, it's an 80-20 split, no cap. I said, I'm, 45% on that deal versus if I'm doing this other deal, I'm only taxed at 20%. So, like, it's a double taxation, that agents are paying. And they, and because they don't, especially when it's a referral, you're not looking at cost to acquire the customer. I didn't have to pay for that. So, it's only my time, effort, and energy. But when you start really, becoming efficient with your time, and you can't afford to do that deal, you had an actual cost to acquire that customer in terms of your time, effort, and energy that you wouldn't have had you called a lead that came in that you spent $3 on. And so, right. It's hard to say no. If somebody calls, I don't care how many deals you're doing. If somebody calls you with a referral, you're usually going to say yes. But if you're really tracking your time, at some point you're going to have to say no to that because it's costing you money, and that's hard to get people to understand at a certain point. But that's why if you track this one metric, you can increase your average sale price. The other thing about marketing people don't talk about, Al, is you want to double your average sale price. You want to double your average commission. Well, first of all, are you charging a transaction fee? How much are you paying to your broker? What all taxes are you paying currently? Let's look at all that. But then let's say, okay, let's look at where the sweet spot in the market is. And if your average is 250, let's look at 450 and see what we can find where, it's not quite double, but it's going to almost double your commission. Let's just do the same number of deals you did last year and double your income. How about that? Let's do that. That you can do that in marketing. If you get a referral from somebody in your database, you don't know where they're going to be, right? Like, one of the guys that joined our brokerage, back in like 2016, we met with him. He did 31 transactions in 29 cities. And I was like, holy shit. Like, Dallas is big. So, like, I'm sure there's 21 cities, but like, or 30 or 29 cities, but like, I never counted them. So I'm like, there's really 29. Like, you pretty much did, but you don't know that person that's going to know somebody and, they're moving over here this way. Okay, I'll do that deal. How many hours of time did you spend driving all over the place because you weren't focused in on one market? And then I had a lady not long after that, and I was just like, man, people don't get it. She's like, she told me her strategy, and I said, tell me what you're trying to do. That's always the question I ask. She said, I want to be the #1 listing agent in McKinney, Texas, which is just right across the street from me. I said, all right, tell me what all you're doing. And she's like, well, I just signed up for Zillow buyer leads in Richardson, Texas. Okay, so I said, all right, well, that ain't going to help you become the #1 listing agent in McKinney, Texas. So Richardson is 30-minute drive, not the same market at all whatsoever. We're talking 2-3 cities in between, big cities, Allen, you got to go through a bunch of cities to get to Richardson. The only available zip code was Richardson. So they played that card on her. Well, if you want it, you're going to have to take it. Someone else is going to take it. So she took it. And she's spending, I don't remember what the number was. It was under 1,000, I think. So it wasn't their highest price deal. But like you gotta be in alignment doing the things that are gonna give you efficiencies. And that doesn't happen. Well, a lot of these things, it's your time being spent that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So just to kind of summarize, dude, this is absolute fire for anybody listening. The topic is how many actual conversations are you having on a monthly basis? Are you tracking them weekly, daily, weekly, monthly? And if you can get to 25, 30 conversations with new people, you're going to start growing your pipeline into actual opportunities. And what is an opportunity, Jay? It's simply
I'll say it. Let me give it to you. Qualified leads. So this is another thing people don't have clarity, right? So like, if and you learn this you learn this at different points in your career. Like when you hire an ISA and then you bonus them on appointments, and they set an appointment with someone who ain't moving in a year, and you go out there to somebody's house and you're like, these people ain't fucking moving. So that's not a qualified appointment, right? So we learned that lesson over the years, right? And so what is a qualified person? Somebody that's planning on doing business in the next 90 days. If they're not doing something in the next 90 days, I probably don't need to meet with them. They're probably not it's not a qualified conversation. It's a nurture. So it's a different metric. It's somebody I'm going to follow up with. It's somebody I'm going to have a pre-agreed time date that I'm going to check in with you that I might turn into a qualified conversation that day. So you're looking at nurtures for the future every day. Who am I following up with that's in my nurture list? And those people are qualified conversations, but that doesn't count as a qualified conversation today because they're not looking at doing business in the next 90 days, open to doing business with you. That's the qualification. If it doesn't meet that criteria, not a qualified conversation as a metric that you're trying to hit.
So it's 90 days and they can't be committed to another agent, meaning they're open to doing business with you.
Right.
All right, I'm putting this into the comments, everybody. Not committed to another agent and open to doing business with you. Ironically, that is exactly the name of the definition. When I was running our ISA team, I mean, at one time, I think we have our 50, 60 ISAs calling, leads everywhere. Like, what is an opportunity? An opportunity is someone who's looking to do something in the next 90 days, buy or sell a property, and they're not committed to another agent, meaning they're open to doing business with you if it's a fit, if you can build trust, if you can build the authority to get them to hire you. So awesome. So we build the ad. We have to get a top of funnel figured out. Okay, cool. We got the top of funnel. We figured that one out. Now we got a database. Building the database out in a way that the technology can then work while you're sleeping. Now, we're not talking about replacing you making the call. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about leveraging technology, automation, AI, the newest AI technology to make sure that you're getting in touch with people that might slip through the cracks. This is another huge piece that I tried building this thing out, dude. I screwed the whole thing up. Like from what's the right text to send, the right email, in what order, how many should they get the first week? How many should they get the second week? At what point should I be jumping in this conversation? Right. It's that entire build out. So like when we wonder why agents that come aboard a brokerage and they're expecting big things, and then they have their head down and they're like, man, I can't get this thing figured out. I can't figure it out. It seems simple. 25 to 30 people. I got to talk to 25 to 30. That's all I got to do as a full-time agent to make 6 figures in real estate, Jay? Yeah, that's all you got to do. Well, there is more to it, which kind of brings us to, this is why we do this live call. So not this particular podcast, but the live call that we started doing a couple weeks ago, man, I'll tell you, the feedback has been absolute fire. Okay. This is not a like sales call type of a webinar. Like what you're going to see is how our team, the team that you put together, is able to literally take all of these moving parts off of your plate so you can focus on the one metric and the only metric that matters. How do I get to 25 to 30 conversations with new buyers and sellers every single month? You do that, you're going to be making $250,000, $300,000. Why? Because we've literally witnessed it. But in order to be able to have 30 conversations a month, Jay, you got to be able to get this stuff off your plate. Like it's like 5 jobs all built into one. We're all wearing all these different hats. What would you, share about this call Thursday that we're going to be having with your entire team? I mean, this team's pretty amazing, but like set the table up.
Yeah.
Why should somebody
So the first thing, and this is super important, I think people will resonate with it. We should be doing business with the people where you want to do business and with the people you want to do business with. In marketing, we can target the sweet spot in the market. We want to understand where's the most volume of people looking and where are the most sales happening. And then we want to know who are those people, right? In every marketplace, it's different. And it's super important. You can't just run the same ad in one market as you do in the other. You got to understand the dynamics of the market, who's moving and why. And it's different. In every market, there's going to be, and this is all AI driven. We don't guess. Let's go ask the big brain, and it's going to tell you who they are, what their avatar is. And marketing is real simple. It's message and who that message is for. If somebody's trying to move and put their kids in Frisco School District and they have a house to sell, what are the things, what are their hopes, fears, concerns, and desires about making this move? When you understand all of that, you can write the correct kind of ad with the correct kind of copy with the right call to action. Nobody's going to get this stuff right out of the gate. You're not. And so what my team's going to do is we're going to explain to you this process we go through to identify the sweet spot in the place you want to do business. Where are the leads? Where are these people at? We're not going to have to figure out audiences. We're not even going to let you log in. Braden told me today, he's like, my philosophy is that if they ever have to log into their Facebook ad manager, then we fucked up. Like that. They should never. Cost per lead, we manage that all ongoing forever. Like I didn't know this. What we do for partners, by the way, all of this is free. We don't charge anything ever. Don't collect $1 from you ever. No referral fee, no fees, no nothing. You don't believe me? Jump on the call. I'll explain it to you how we do it, why we do it. There's no reason for me to take your money and tax you. I don't need to tax you. Everyone else is trying to tax you already. And so but Braden's like, we manage that ongoing forever. I said, we manage that forever. I said, I thought we put it on them maybe to like at some point, if your lead costs, like, can't we just put it on? We had a debate about it. And I was like, I agreed with Braden ultimately, but I was like, well, after 30 days, if we got the lead cost dialed in, then if the lead cost goes up, why don't you just have a notification go out and then we'll jump in and, we can jump in and fix it for them. And he said, well, that's what we do. That's what we do now, but we do it forever. I was like, well, the onus should be on them at some point. And he's like, I don't want them ever going in and tweaking an ad ever because they always mess it up. He said, I have to manage that, like, because he makes a difference. He knows it. Like he'll the image, the change, whatever change he's going to make. The other day he was talking to somebody and he said, how did your Facebook profile? It was empty. You ever get a tweet from somebody that had had the egg?
Yeah.
Do you think of that person as quality or, like,
no, I think it's like, bot or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
So she was running, her ads were like just at like a little bit above $5. And I was like, doesn't seem like a problem, but Braden was scientifically going through the stuff and was like, you know what? It might be this, like, you need to upload an image to that. Like you need to upload an image. I don't care what image it is, but it should be aligned to your brand ultimately. And little things like that people don't necessarily know or catch. But we do that for as long as you're a partner with us, we're managing that on the back end, not you. We just log in and do it for you. You don't have to worry about it. But I promise you this, if you run a Facebook ad and you go back to it 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, at least a month from now, for sure, your lead cost is going to jump up $7-8. You know who does that on the back end and fixes it? We do. You don't need to do that. It's not what you're good at. You should be staying face to face with clients. We did a podcast called Face to Face. You should look it up. Some of the best content we ever created, but good stuff. But again, go meet the team. Listen to how they interact. We're going to help you with branding. We're going to do your lead gen. We're going to build out the systems. What texts go out and when. None of the stuff you need to mess with. Then we're going to help you with content. What content should you create? The 70 people out of 30 out of 100 that you didn't talk to, what are they consuming that builds trust so that the next automated text that goes out they reply to it because they know you. Those are the types of things that our team step-by-step implements. So you have an oil well that pumps oil consistently, increases conversations per day with people who want to buy and sell and are open to doing business with you. You can do all these tactics, but this is the one system that's the lowest cost, highest return on investment that is predictable. And that's why we do it for you, because I tried to figure it out. Al's tried to figure it out. We hired world-class employees. Ask them any question you want. What type of business you're trying to go after, we'll talk through it and we'll show you how we do it for you. So yeah, you're going to learn something if nothing else, but I highly recommend you jump on the call and learn something, and if you want us to do it for you, we'll be happy to.
Dude, I mean, no wonder why so many people are beating their head against the wall right now, because we just took a real simple concept, have 30 conversations a month. That's basically one a day. Like, if you can't tell me,
it sounds simple, right? It sounds simple.
$300,000 a year in real estate. If you just have one new conversation, that's all it really boils down to, is one actual real conversation per day. If you told me, yeah, man, I don't know that I could swing that, I would just say you're probably in the wrong business.
Well, Al, what we're talking about here is if you think about that's all you're trying to do all day, that's all you're trying to do, and all day long, that's in the back of your mind is this going to help me get to a conversation with someone who wants to buy or sell and open to a business? Like, if it's the one thing that you should be paying attention to, and you're actually paying attention to it, write it on the wall, put it on your mirror at home, tattoo it on your fucking arm. I don't care. Make sure that no minute goes by that you're not thinking about, is this shit I'm doing right now, but I'm on tour with the agents on Tuesday looking at all the new listings. Is this going to help me get to a fucking another conversation? No, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. You're doing all these things that you think you got to do that don't lead to conversations. And if you stop doing all those things and start working on the things that drive conversations, then you're going to sell more real estate. Like, it's just that simple. And so, but we think, well, I got to, I don't get floor time or whatever the excuse is. If it does not, you only got so many hours in a day. You got to be focused on the thing that's driving that. And if you don't have something that's helping you do that, then you're going to have to call expireds, FSBOs. It's hard to do it without some lead source. I would not delegate that to a referral source or to my broker that wants to give me leads, or to Op City, or to the next Tom, Dick, and Harry that calls you trying to sell you a platform. That's not you in your control. It's not. You're giving that to someone else. And I think you should have the knob that you can turn up, turn down, and be in control of your business if you ultimately don't want to get taxed or double taxed.
I mean, what you're saying is own the machine, don't rent the machine. When you start renting, you pay those taxes. What are we talking about with taxes, by the way? We're always being taxed. Zillow, 40% tax. Your team member, if you're on a team, that could be another 50% tax. Then you got your broker taxing you. Some of these taxes we can't avoid. Like, I can't, you might be able to reduce them, but you can avoid them, right? So the question is, what can I eliminate and what can I reduce? And the one thing you can reduce is that Zillow tax, man. I'm telling you, if you feel like, here's what I did. First time I ever made 7 figures in real estate, this was the mindset. I knew one thing, Jay. If I could get face-to-face with 2 to 3 new sellers per day. Now, I took it up a level because I had big aspirations, and, what else was I going to do? I knew that sitting in my office, trying to manage other agents and do all that was not my highest and best use, my highest leverage activity. My highest leverage activity was when I was nose to nose with a new seller. So the goal was simple. How many conversations with new sellers could I have per week based on my marketing budget? It was really just that simple. Now, there's more into it, obviously. We're spending literally tens of thousands of dollars every single month on radio and all these other high cost leads. And the truth of the matter was, today you don't need to do that. There's a way to start to fill that opportunity pipeline between $3 to $5 a lead. but there's a science to it. And that's what we're going to discuss. We're literally going to just show you and give you the entire formula, everything. Just come and join us Thursday at noon Central Time. You can, if you want an invite to this, just go to jetfuelleads.com/live, because it is live. This is not a recording. There's no pitch. You're not going to be sold anything. So keep your credit card in your purse and just come join us and be a fly on the wall. If you don't want to even turn your camera on or mute yourself the whole time, that's completely fine. But what Jay's going to do is introduce you to the team that you can literally leverage without having to stroke us one penny, not $1 coming to the team that can help you implement and get all this out. So now your new business model for 2026, it's real simple. You have one metric. How many conversations did I have this week? Am I on my goal to hit my 25 to 30, whatever it is for you for the month? If not, good. Guess what? There's the good news is you still got, what is it, the 20th? So you got, 10, 11 days, whatever's left in January to try to have more conversations till you hit it. And that's really it. That's your rhythm, Jay, is like, how many conversations? If you were going to track anything, start with the number of conversations. And if you want to see how we can help you get to the 20, 30, we have people having 40, 50 conversations a month with new clients every single month. Hop on that live, meet the team, and you're going to see the magic behind the Oz's curtain. We got Jay Oz Kinder here.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you what, I'm not a genius here. Okay, guys, I hired really smart people that do this stuff. I don't know how to do. I won't do any of that stuff. If I do, I'm going to mess it up. I understand principally what needs to happen, and I've got experts that do the work. They'll do it for you. You don't have to do the work. Like it's not worth your time. It's not when you're in your flow state. You're in your flow state when the phone rings with somebody that wants your help and sees you as a professional. I want to put you in that place more often, more frequently, and you'll enjoy your real estate career a lot more. But that's what I had to learn over 30 years of being in this business, is that I shouldn't be doing those things. And you don't need to buy a course and learn how to do it. You should hire the best person to do it. And in this case, we're not charging anything for it. So you'd be crazy. It's financially irresponsible for you not to at least understand that.
I would think. And if you're someone who's out here winging it right now, this is your opportunity to literally copy and paste. Even if you don't partner with us, doesn't matter, right? Like, you'll be able to see the system that we've plugged agents into, literally like college students. We've plugged college students that happen to have they got their real estate license, their ambition. Full-time college students that we've had make six figures their first year, working real estate part-time, and they did over $100,000 in commissions, working the same exact system. So we're excited to meet you. We're excited for you to meet the team, meet Jay. Of course, I think there's a Q&A at the end. If you have some questions, you can absolutely ask questions, but you'll more than anything, you literally get the peek behind this curtain, see what we've been working on for the last literally like 5 years. This is how we do it. And kind of going back to your point, Jay, the reason why you don't do any of this, the reason is because it's not your strong suit. Your strongest thing is face-to-face, three-way calls, one-on-one calls with agents who are stuck in their business and helping them get unstuck. If you're doing anything other than that activity right then and there, it's not a money-producing activity for our business either. If we can't help agents get more productive and make more money, then we don't make any more money. It's just how our model's set up. Yep. So our highest and best use, our highest leverage point is, how many conversations are we having with agents? I mean, we eat our own dog food here, Jay. That's kind of what I'm saying, is that, like, this is what we focus on. How many three-way calls? How many one-on-one calls? How many discovery calls? We're working the same thing. We're all in this together. So I'm excited to meet you guys. Go to jetfuelleads.com/live. We'll see you on the call. Jay, always been awesome, dude.
Appreciate y'all.
Man, see you at the top.
Yep, or from the top.